Right, I'm going live because I'm very late. There we go. Fucking.
Hey, you have to turn the bloody Wi-Fi off on it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you've got a much better camera now. That's fancy.
Oh, hi. I'm 50 and I'm pretty.
Gucci, that. I'm well impressed. So, how have you been? All right. First things first. Is it your birthday actually today, or?
Yeah.
All right, happy birthday.
Cheers, buddy.
Normally we do, we change it, don't we, depending on when you can get to the pub. So like when I was boozing, it was actually the day before, or 2 days before my birthday. But it actually is your 50th. I can see by the the badge. I think we're on. Oh, we fucking should be. It says end stream, so I'm guessing we're on there. And I think I've got my chat working. It's just a bit low. There we go. Happy days. I think. So, what type of camera is that then? Is that like one of them freestanding Gucci ones with a tripod, or what? Where'd you get?
It's a Canon EOS M50 that I use for doing my YouTube videos.
There you go. That explains it. What were you using before? One of them shitty ones that you stick on top of your monitor?
Let me see.
I think we're on. It might just be quiet. I'm still not, you're not talking to a premium YouTuber with tens of thousands of avid followers.
There is.
I'm double fisting with booze as well because seeing as it's your birthday, I'm double fisting. Yeah, I've got one in each hand.
Wait, let me see.
And water because I'm a bit dehydrated.
Wait, let me see. Oh, good stuff. You've got to get the whiskey in there and then the water to keep you going.
Well, I'm not a purist like you. If you've noticed, I do put one ice cube in just to like keep it chilly because I know the purists won't even. They use like whiskey stones, don't they, rather than ice cubes to keep the whiskey cold. Or at least that's what I've been led to be. That's what I've been led to believe. I might be wrong because I'm like I said, I'm not a whiskey guru like you, but as far as I'm aware, that's the crack.
Let me see. Aye, no, you got to drink the whiskey the way you like it.
That's a good mantra, but it's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
How you want. And if you're, I remember because my brother was, there was a really pretentious bartender when I was living in York, and he was a fucking knobhead, and he used to always debrief you about everything when he was, you'd go in there and say like, oh, what's a good lager? And he'd go, there's no such thing as a good lager. It's like, all right, but you're a bartender, so you're supposed to give people some actually useful advice rather than just be a twat to them, you know what I mean? I remember telling my brother about this and saying to him, the guy's an absolute throbber. So my brother was like, next time I'm going to go, what's your most expensive whiskey? And he'll be like, oh, it's, the Macallan, whatever. And he'll say, I'll have that with a Diet Coke in it, please.
Let's see what's going on here. Oh,
You still not see me?
I'm getting you twice here.
Really? That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Let me check YouTube, see if I've fucked it up. Go live. Live now? No, it seems to be on.
How's that now?
Unless I'm being an idiot. Live now. Concurrent viewers now. Oh yeah, there we go. Fucking hell, I got the wrong chat up for some reason. There we go. Right, now I can see them. Alright, I'll get rid of this fucking shit one. There we go. Sorry everyone. Matt, is that a bulk powder shaker? Yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. I do occasionally take massive powder when I'm going to the gym. You don't get fucking cannons like these without working out. Do you know what I mean? Gotta. I don't only drink booze and smoke Benson and Hedges. So yeah, there's everyone on there. Well done to Al for squaring away the technical issues. Richard, the usuals are in. Hugh, Jack, Richard, Paul, hello. There's been another peaceful incident in France. Yes, we are going to talk about that. Diane. What else have I got? Aaron, hello. You work for Bulk in Colchester. All right, dear. Can you get me some cheap, massive powder? I've invented my own amazing diet. You can join in if you want. I'll give you some, because Royal Marines, we know a lot about fitness and nutrition. Yeah. I've invented this fantastic diet. It's called the Massive Powder Diet. And what you do is you eat massive quantities of protein powder, but you don't do any exercise. And it fucking works at a treat.
Jesus. There's a balloon coming in at me. See that? Crazy wife.
I don't think it is Bulk, actually, mate. It's Dynamite. Dynamite Nutrition. Yeah. So, no.
I used to be into all that sort of thing, too, when I was fit for it.
When you were young and healthy?
Aye, well, younger and healthy. Yes, not healthy now.
The crack is, though, you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. It's like once you've had a go at it, you can rap. So now you're old. You do what you're good at when you're old, and that's sitting in a chair and drinking copious amounts of booze.
That's it. And thankfully, because it's the birthday, I've got copious amounts.
Fucking loads. That is that's a man's collection. So go on then, run us through some of them and give us a quick heads up.
Where are we? Like, get this.
Because it is whiskey and politics, and all we do is politics. Shit. Let's do a bit more whiskey.
That's it. Where the hell's my thing? It's Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select, Knob Creek, the Quiet Man 12-year-old, Kirker and Greer, which is a fairly new Irish whiskey, and Blender's Dog here from Jameson, which I've never tried before, but I will before the night is over. So that's what the store is there.
Well, here's a quick one from, like I said, an avid drinker, but not a whiskey purist. I've never been into Jack Daniels. I lived in Huntsville, which is literally about an hour and a half from the distillery, and I never bothered going to the distillery because I don't fucking like Jack Daniels. But do you think they make plenty of good whiskey, or are you merely?
Oh, they do. You talk about like the old number 7. It's all right. I can drink it, but what you've got to take into account is once you go past that and the Gentleman Jack, once you get onto the likes of this Single Barrel Select, you're going to your barrel proofs. Yeah. The Senator ones are the really top class, brilliant whiskies. Just gets a bad name because of the old number 7, but it's doesn't really deserve that. But the old number 7 is handy enough. You can get a litre on offer, and if you're just in the mood for having a few sips or you want to get pished, it's a handy thing to do. You'd rather spend 20 quid getting pitched in Jack Daniels and portion down like a 50 quid bottle of fine single malt,
Yeah. Well, like I said, I do like whiskey, but I will drink any fucking thing. And it's not my go-to drink as a result. Like, if you want to get pished for cheap, gin is a fucking easy one because you can get a bottle of the worst gin ever. But then you pour like half a fucking pint of tonic water and a bit of lime in there, and it's fine, even if it's just harsh metallic gin made in a Polish man's bathtub.
Don't tell me this fucking thing's off again, is it?
Yeah, you've gone again.
Jesus.
But we can hear you.
Aye. Well, you'll soon see me again. See the bloody settings. I hit the wrong button again.
What is the problem? Just having your Wi-Fi on at the same time?
Aye. Stupid bloody camera. Well, stupid operator. So it is.
I want to try and get the screen sorted out so we can actually see a news story quite easily in the corner. Maybe I can put it on the top right there. But yeah, I want to. When we do start talking politics, I want to get a few bits of info on there. Al's camera's fucked. Arsene.
Jesus, that's what you get for fiddling about with stuff when you're on live, dickhead. Right. Oh, you never learn, you dumbass.
It's all right. I'll talk to the chat for a bit. Harry Callahan, bourbon is American whiskey with an E. I always thought Irish whiskey was with an E.
Yep.
And Scottish whiskey was with just a Y, right?
That's right. Some American whiskies are just the Y as well. And
there's no exact science to it the way the Americans do it, though.
No, generally that is the correct way. But oh, you fucker. What's going on now?
Can't do whiskey. Got pissed as a young'un with Johnnie Walker. See, Johnnie Walker's red label is shite. Even I know this. Red label shite, but the stuff I drink is black label, and that's a fucking good whiskey. Like,
yeah.
Don't let anyone tell you it's shite, because it's not. Southern Comfort's fucking shite. That's just far too sweet. What do you think of Southern Comfort, Ali? Are you a fan?
No.
No. Yeah, shit.
No, not in any shape or form. Had a bad experience with it once, and it seemed like a nice thing to do at the time. I wasn't really into whiskey at the time, and all I can remember is running down the stairs and just about getting to the bathroom and throwing it all up.
Oh no, I've angered people there. I wrote in the chat and I spelt favourite without a U. Again, right, I know back home, working class people hate anyone who comes across as pretentious, ever, because of our class-based society. But when you fucking work out here and you've been out here for 7 years and you're constantly writing documents and doing shit like that, writing procedures and work instructions and all the type of shit you deal with, you just get used to spelling things that way. It's not because I think I'm special now. Like, I haven't started talking like, gee whiz, wait just a cotton picking minute. You get used to typing that way. So apologies in advance if I use the American spelling. But I am sick of people whinging about it. Like, every time I do it, someone has a go at me for it. Fair play, you're not a fan of Johnnie Walker. Yeah, well, again, what have I been saying? I'm not a whiskey snob, and I appreciate men like Al having a real talent for whiskey and being very discerning about it, but Bootneck is not a whiskey snob. Bootneck is not a booze snob of any way, shape or form, and I'll drink anything if it's cheap, which is why I'm doubling up and I've got a bottle of Stella here. Stella, happy days. I don't understand the snobbiness about Stella since it became like the best seller. When I was a bairn, like when I was 19, 20, everyone drank Stella. That was when it sort of first got popularised in the UK. And now everyone sort of looks down on it. But Stella's a fucking decent lager. I don't understand people, the real ale twats, having a problem against it. Aluminium is still aluminium. Arsene. In fact, though, you know what? I'm sure I noticed. The Americans actually spell it wrong. All right, if you're an American. So aluminium, said the way that it's spelled in the United States, it works because they actually do spell it differently as well. Jay, how you doing?
Oh, I'm ready to throw cameras out the window. I may have to switch.
Rugby's on. Oh, I didn't even know. I haven't kept my foot in. Who's playing?
I haven't a clue. I don't know. I don't really follow the rugby. So I don't. It's rugby. Not my thing.
Not your sport?
Nah, not really. But I would watch the odd Six Nations as it is now, but it's not really a...
Is it France against Ireland you're talking about, are you?
Could be. I don't know. I think if it happens to be on, but I wouldn't make a point of it, you know. It's,
yeah.
Where's his fucking set?
Oh, England, Italy. All right. Yeah, I do like rugby, but sort of, again, you lose track of things over here. I do watch it when it's on. And I always like to go and see your face popped up for a second then it fucked off again.
Oh, I know, that was just the younger version with a bit more of a beard.
That's why you look like you've gone out hunting.
Aye. Fucking thing.
Italy, England, the fucking Italians are shite at rugby. They might be much better. This is why the Welsh love rugby, isn't it? Because the Welsh are actually good at rugby. England are much better at rugby than they are at football. So I don't understand why everyone's always into football, like rugby. The Welsh have got the right idea. If you're good at fucking rugby, be into rugby. And England are much better at rugby than football, so fucking get into rugby. Yeah, Aaron, we're going to talk about that as well once I'll get his camera sorted. I was going to do some English politics as well.
Oh, yes.
Lockdown's fucking ridiculous.
Oh, and they're about to go again.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How many videos have I made about it? Anyone who's watching this knows how many videos have I made about it. The numbers are in. We've seen the numbers. Stillbirth, doubled. Prostate cancer, tripled, I think. Something like 90% drop off in referrals from the same time last year. Strokes, all the other types of cancer, cardiac arrest from like heart problems, no heart screening. You've had battered wives, abused children, starving kids because all the poor kids do only get fucking fed at school. You've had fucking everything you can think of, every awful thing you can think of. Suicide, alcoholism, drug addiction, all from fucking lockdown. And the lockdown, and they reckon COVID-19's only killed 46,000 people. So I reckon by the end of it, COVID killed about 50,000 people, and the lockdown killed about 200,000 people. And they'll go, nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to fucking see here. There he is. He's back again.
Oh, fuck me.
We need to make use. We need to monetize your good looks, Al, and get you on the camera. Fucking hell, you know.
That's right. I'm not touching any more settings.
There's not enough. There's not enough bald 50-year-old men with a drink problem in the world. We need to monetize. You know, monetize your rare talents.
Aye, well, I wouldn't say I have a drink problem. I only have a problem if I spill it.
See you, mugwump. Enjoy the rugby.
Thank fuck. I know. I think old Boris is on very shortly.
Yeah, so the lockdown's a fucking joke. I'll tell you what, then let's talk about it. What do you reckon? And what's going on over there? I know it's by country and by region. What exactly are you guys doing over in Northern Ireland?
No, we're in a fucking, what's it, 4-week sort of semi-lockdown. The pubs are closed. The restaurants are closed. There's only carry-outs, things like that. School got an extra week off for the Halloween break. And basically everybody's walking about with masks on, except me.
It's a fucking
joke. I'm exempt. I'm exempt, even though I'm in the high-risk category.
Why are you exempt? Because of what's your health problem that makes you exempt?
Because I've got chronic pulmonary sarcoidosis, which means my lungs are fucked, they don't work right. And which is one of the reasons why I'm retired. So I walk about huffing and puffing, like I walk up the length of the hallway in the house here, and it's like climbing fucking Everest.
Ah, right. Because I have wondered that, you know, I've seen people with masks on saying, "Oh, I'm exempt," and I'm thinking with badges saying I'm exempt, and I thought, what ailments other than the only kind of thing I could think of would be like chronic asthma or something. But that's, I suppose, so any form of pulmonary issues, anything to do with breathing difficulties, people can just say, "Fuck you, I'm not wearing one."
That's right. And then, well, the best thing to really do is fucking, you know, wear a mask if you're not exempt. Well, unless you're one of these people that says fucking don't work. And I'm a wee bit of a skeptic in that regard as well, because I've got these people on, you know, when you see them online and they're like, fucking wear a mask. You're fucking killing people if you don't wear a mask.
Oh, I'm sick of it.
And anybody can wear a mask. Some surgeon ran a marathon wearing it and his oxygen levels were all right. Well, fucking he didn't have a set of lungs on him like I do. You know, because if I put a mask on, I'm even sitting here, if I put a mask on,
right. Yeah.
Just doesn't work, you know. So, but
So
just
stop-
try to be
So
happy.
stop gobbing off about it if you're a fucking... I mean, what's the mask Nazis all about? Like, seriously. I don't get it. Again, my rights don't end where your fucking fees begin. And that's what annoys me about this stuff. It's like, they make out as if anyone who dares to ask any questions about it is a lunatic, a fucking science denier. It's like they're living in crazy town. It's like every time I put the radio on or YouTube on, or you go on like any of the sort of centrist news outlets, talk radio, the Telegraph, the Economist, the fucking normal people, the Spectator. There's dozens of doctors, and they're not cranks. It's people from Harvard, Yale, Oxford, they're all over. And in the chief epidemiologist in Sweden, that Anders Tegnell, all these renowned people from renowned universities are going, hang on, you're only listening to half the argument. But the second you say this, they go, no, you're a fucking conspiracy theorist. It's like, fuck off.
Like that's one of the things that pisses me off about it, because you're only hearing part of it. You're hearing the side they want you to hear. You're hearing the side the mainstream media want you to hear. And like I saw a thing earlier on, and it sort of hit home. I actually saved it on the phone here. What scares me most is not the fact that our media is lying to us. It's the fact that most of you believe them.
Yeah.
You know, but it's bloody true, because, you know, people say, oh, they're following the science. So-and-so said this. Do your own bloody research. Look into it and see what other people are saying.
Yeah.
And the actual top people in the world who know most about these things are saying, all you have to do is be careful. Yeah, wear your mask if you want to. Practice good hygiene and just get on with your life, because the lockdown's going to do more harm than bloody good.
Yeah.
And there's people dropping with fucking heart attacks. There's people dying of cancer. There people can't even get screened for cancer. And it's going to do more harm than good in the long run. And that might be part of the whole drive behind doing it. What are they talking about now? The Great Reset.
I know. See, this is the mad thing, isn't it? I keep telling you, I've never once been like a conspiracy theorist, but they make you into one, because the evidence, you have to follow it where it lies. And if it's so obvious, like I said, all of the figures are in, the numbers and the data's been crunched. We didn't know at the start in March. You could forgive people for being sceptical in March because we didn't know, and it was a new virus. But we can crunch the numbers for the last 6 months, and like I've told you, I've read so many articles in reputable establishment papers, stuff like I said, the Spectator, the oldest magazine in the world. I've listened to read articles by people like epidemiologists from Oxford, Cambridge, and Harvard, and fucking MIT and stuff, and they're saying it doesn't work putting people into lockdown. It doesn't work, and you need to just get on with your lives and shelter the vulnerable, like they've done in Sweden. And then you see the numbers about the deaths from prostate cancer and other diseases, and the depression and the suicide and the fucking addiction. And you just think that, well, we even just doing the basic maths, the prevention is worse than the fucking cure. Like the lockdown is worse than...
That's it.
So what they're doing, you have to think then there's an ulterior motive, don't you? If it's purely about casualties, and you go on one hand, the lockdown's killed at least 100,000, and on the other hand, the COVID's killed 46,000, what other reason is there for putting us in lockdown?
But even then, the COVID hasn't actually killed that much. If they broke it down properly to the figures that people died of COVID instead of with COVID, it's going to be even more of a smaller number, you know.
Yeah, it's not going to be 46,000, is it?
No, hell no. And there's many as one that is put down as a COVID death that hasn't even been tested. It's just because they've got a pre-existing condition. They've fallen off bloody perch. And then it's like, as they say in some places, well, if you put COVID down, you get a free funeral or something like that, you know.
Fucking hell, if you get a free funeral, fucking hell, everyone in Middlesbrough will die of fucking COVID, because we are grabbing bastards. That'll be the COVID centre of planet Earth, that.
Yeah, well, it's fucking... I'm not sure the PCR tests that they're doing, like what they're saying, they're only 7 or 8% like accurate. But the more you think about it and the more you do your own research, the more you're like, you know, if you weren't an Alex Jones before, you would be now.
Exactly.
Because it's
make
more like
conspiracy
it's
theories.
about control rather than health. So it is. It's almost like with the US election coming up, and it's either them or us. We have to do this last big push to gain control of the masses so that we'll put out the bad orange man and then we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Regarding the comments, want to say, by the way, because Mugwumps, there's a few people who are obsessed with whinging at me about comments getting deleted. I don't delete comments. I don't fucking cultivate them. And I'm talking to Al at the minute, and I'm not. You can hear when I tap anything. Look, it's pretty loud. I'm not cultivating the comments. So if shit's getting deleted, it's YouTube. They do seem to aggressively. I've actually replied to people, and YouTube have deleted it. If I put, because I swear a lot, if I put fuck this and so-and-so's a communist and reply on my own channel, 10 seconds later the fucking thing's gone. And that's me replying on my own channel, and it isn't monetized, and I don't take any ad money. So YouTube do what the fuck it like. So please stop whinging about your comments getting deleted. It isn't me.
That's right, and it's the same. You're getting it all over social media. Like I find it too since I started doing more political stuff. It's
the shocking.
You sort of wonder like how far is your reach going with different things. Like I've got it on Twitter. Like the fucking Twitter followers, you're getting followers every day, and then you look at it the next day and you've less followers than you had the day before. You're like, what's happening here?
Because you said something nice about Boris Johnson or something. I don't know.
It's like when you tell Sadiq Khan to shut the fuck up. I suppose it doesn't really help either, but.
Yeah. Well, I think YouTube are going to be super aggressive with me because I'm just deliberately antagonistic. I always have been. I'm shockingly stubborn. On Quora, I've got like 11,000 followers, and all I do go on there now is just to talk shit about the mods because I'm stubborn as fuck. Like I said, I don't know. It must be my criminals. Because I told you, one of my great grandparents got hung. He's one of the last men to get hung in Middlesbrough. I think he killed someone in Ireland. I think he shot him over a card game, and then he ran off.
As you do. So that was a dumb thing today.
Yeah, and then he stayed in the borough and he shagged a load of birds and had a few kids, and then he got caught and then they hung him. So I've got a natural rebellious streak of criminality in me. And when they're stubborn, I just dig my heels in. And people are like, oh, they'll ban you off of YouTube. And I'm like, well, if they ban me, I'll fucking go to BitChute and I'll talk to 11 people on there instead. But I'm not kowtowing to them. They can fuck off. Like that on that subject. Did you watch any of the court meeting between Ted Cruz and Jack Dorsey?
Oh yeah, Jack. He looked like he'd been fucking marooned for 10 years. Drunken sailor. He looked high as a fucking kite.
Yeah.
But the first question, do you think Twitter can affect the US election? No. Well,
unbelievable.
Jesus, look who's getting banned. Everything. There's fucking nothing there about certain things that are happening. You'll not see it in the mainstream media. You won't see it on Twitter. Fuck me, I was seeing a thing on the BBC today about how much of the wall is Trump actually built.
Yeah.
Fuck. Anything to do that pushes the lefty narrative is there.
I know.
Anything against it's not.
I know. And did you see? Well, I've just popped him up there, look, see. So there he is, for those watching the channel. Fucking homeless male prostitute. That is the Jack Dorsey look. Homeless male prostitute, crackhead. And you can see when he talks, right? Because I've made this point loads of times. If you're an honest man and you're being honest, you can't lose an argument. They can put up against you the most charismatic, the most well-trained, the most oily salesman type representative they want. If you're telling the truth and you're being honest, you can look them firmly in the eye always and say, fuck you. And that's why you can't lose the argument. And I was saying that about that Ted Bublinsky, who was talking. You watched my video, right, where he's interviewed by Tucker. He's telling the truth. You can see it in his face. He's pissed off. He's direct iconing all the time. That man is not telling a lie. This fucking shambling hobo here with the cold, dead eyes, for a fact he couldn't lie straight in bed. And when he sat there in front of fucking Ted Cruz and he said, can Twitter directly affect the election? And he went, no. His soulless dead eyes. You could see he's, I wouldn't believe his radio. He is a lying, crazy tramp with drug problems, and he probably doesn't sleep because he spends his life lying and manipulating people. So I couldn't believe he said that with a straight face.
No, it's just like the fucking thing is, everybody, even on the left, like old fucking trout face Pelosi and all these ones, they know damn well it's all lies, like Shifty Schiff and all this, but they're just promoting it because it's their agenda, and they don't give a rat's ass about the truth. All they want is power by any means possible, and it's all being driven by that, well, mass stream manipulation fucking media.
Shocking, isn't it? Shocking.
And the thing is, it's that apparent now. If you can't see it, you really are a fucking numpty, you know, because sure, what was it, Kamala Harris was introduced the other night as future President Harris.
Was she really? Was she really? I didn't see that.
Fucking hell! At one of her rallies where like 3 or 4 people turned up, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's another one, right? Maybe Trump won't win because they've done such a good job. Like, everyone is against him at this point. Like, all the MSM, Twitter, Facebook, Google, that's a lot of power. So maybe he won't. But I don't believe my lying. I can't. You've got to believe your lying eyes, haven't you? Like, they keep going on about how far ahead Biden fucking is. I seen a rally last week where Biden was in like Anaheim or something, and I swear down there was about fucking 8 people there. It was like the STD clinic on a fucking naval base, i.e. quite a few people down there, but tiny by political standards. There was about 10 people there in a little line, and I was like, fucking hell, it doesn't look very popular. And then you go and see a Trump rally, and there's literally thousands of the cunts there. And I don't believe what I'm hearing. My own eyes and ears are seeing the material difference between enthusiasm, general support, crowd size, and yet they're telling us every single day Biden's got it sewn up, Trump can't win, it's going to be a landslide. I don't believe them.
No, neither do I, because there's too much popular support. And then if you look at the facts, you know, from people attending the rally, there's like 20-30% of people who were Democrats, but want to vote for Trump. Another 15-20% of people who have never voted before. And like, it's plain to see that he can pull the crowds out and the others can't.
Yeah.
But did you see the clip of Joe last night?
No, just fucked.
Oh, fuck me! It was like he was going full steam, you know, he gets all excited, and then the last word was, you know, it's like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah. You know? Do you remember his one when he said, we prefer truth over facts? Do you remember when he said that?
That's right.
And sure, choose truth over facts. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's right. And then he came out and said about that created the best or most mass voter fraud organization in the world, the most effective. And it's like, well, he probably didn't mean to say that, you know, but he's just like, that's what I say. Saw the other day, he was in 3 states today, you know, fucking unconscious, semi-conscious and confused.
It's fucking mad. It is. So like I said, regarding the US election, we'll see. Maybe there's going to be enough kids mobilised because the power is staggering. And this is what I keep reminding people that are just convinced Trump's going to win. I think he's probably going to win because I've just got my own eyes and ears. But you have to understand the power of Facebook, Google, Twitter, and the MSM. Like, they might have done enough to motivate the young to vote because they never do. The fact that Twitter and Facebook have been bashing them around the head for the last 6 weeks might be enough to guide Biden to victory. But it's not as a result of organic. If it was a normal organic election process where there was no interference from the giants and the government themselves, the civil servants, the FBI, the fucking CIA, the branches of government, if it wasn't for the entire staggering corruption of the state and all of their big tech partners, he would fucking piss the election. as it stands, maybe he won't win. But it's only because of the effort they've put in to fucking deny him. It's unheard of in my lifetime that interference from big tech. RP's in chat, all right, mate. The interference from big tech is unbelievable. And this is what I keep telling people. Even if you're not a conservative, because I've keep making this point. They always accuse you as soon as you come out for Trump. They go, "Oh my God, just another conservative right-wing arsehole." It's like, I'm a registered Democrat. When I got my citizenship, I registered as a Democrat because English conservatives aren't very conservative. They're socially liberal centrists, and that's what I am. And I registered as a Democrat, and I still think I am, because I don't think they're a fucking bunch of lunatics up until about 2-3 years ago. And so I'm not got some partisan bias in favour of Trump here, but out of pure principle, it's not even about the election anymore. It's not about Trump or Biden. Out of principle, I don't see how anyone who thinks of themselves as a liberal or a lover of freedom and democracy can vote for Joe Biden at this point, after you've got big tech and oligarchs outright censoring them like they do in China. Like, outright censorship. If there's a story that's critical of Biden, they bury it. If there's a story that's critical of Trump, they magnify it. That is the worst type of authoritarian censorship that you would see in a tin pot fucking banana republic. And the fact that CNN and MSNBC are doing that, I honestly feel like even if I was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, like my wife, I've talked her into it, she's not voting for Biden. She's a dyed-in-the-wool, whole-life Democrat from California. And she agrees with me on the principle. And I'm like, it's not about the election. It's not about Trump and Biden. It's about the fucking principle of a free press telling you facts, and they won't do it. So she went right on and she wrote in Andrew Yang. Mm-hmm. Do that. If you hate conservatives and you've got no interest in any of it, even then, if you want to look yourself in the mirror and think, I'm not a fucking scumbag, you should be at least writing in Yang or writing in Tulsi or writing in Bernie fucking Sanders if you want. But you can't vote for their candidate when they've spent 4 years doing China-style fucking suppression of facts.
And what half of these people that do, like, well, I agree with you there too, because while I've got certain leanings, it's principles that guide me. I don't care. It's depending. If one side has a good idea, and I agree with it, yep, that's it. If the other side has a good idea, yeah, fair enough. You know, I'm not going to just stick to one side, but fucking show me an idea that the Democrats have come up with lately that isn't just plain fucking bonkers, crazy. You know, like Gavin Newsom, fucking put your mask on in between bites.
Oh, God, don't start me on Gavin Newsom.
Hell, you know, it's like, you know, what can you do? And even Bernie Sanders yesterday tweeting about your boy that got shot in Philadelphia running at the pillars with 2 knives.
Oh, yeah.
And what the fuck are they going to do?
I know. Use harsh language.
That's right. Come on over here, big lad. Come on over here, big lad. It's all right. This is the 3rd time we've been out at the house today after you punched your fucking parents and all that. And come on over here and sit down here and we'll have a wee fucking chat. You know,
mental.
And just sit close enough to me so that if you really get fucked off, you can slice me throat.
Gavin Newsom, mate. Let's talk about him for a bit, because I fucking hate Gavin Newsom. For those in the chat who don't know who he is, because this is relatively niche politics, unless you're well into politics, you might not have heard about him. But Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, and he is very, very left wing. He's basically just like Justin Trudeau. They're almost of a similar age as well. And it's the same crack. Gavin Newsom got to his position not because he's clever, but because of his political connections. He's all connected. He's like the nephew of Pelosi's dad and all this. They're all connected. It's like the fucking mafia. And Newsom is, the best way I can sum him up for non-California people is, he's like Justin Trudeau. He's a moron. He was like dyslexic. They said he couldn't spell. He failed all of his classes in school. He's like a fucking idiot. Because he's connected, he became the governor. And Trudeau became president because his dad was the prime minister. And his dad was quite clever. So it's the exact same thing. And Gavin Newsom has got the fucking IQ for sausage roll. The silly cunt goes on TV and fully fucking just they bring up the big issues and he deflects and talks about tiny issues because he thinks, we'll just talk about this. And I've seen Adam Carolla talking about him because he lives out here, doesn't he? And he goes, Gavin fucking Newsom. He said, I said to him the other day, the state's on fire. There's a mountain of homeless people everywhere. The crime's gone through the roof. What are we going to do? And Gavin Newsom says to me, oh, you know, we're going to be totally gasoline-free cars by 2035. And he goes, what the fuck has that got to do with what I've just told you? He's like, all right, here's some more things. Catch and release. All the rapists and the murderers are getting arrested, paperwork filed, and then released back onto the streets the same day. Yep. One guy fucking killed a woman, and then he was out the same day, and then he pinched a car on the night. What about that? And then he goes, oh, yeah? Well, according to our latest initiative, we're going to have an amnesty on illegal immigrants in San Francisco. And he's like, you know what you're doing, Gavin? It's like you're basically saying to me, oh, my son, he's mastered Mandarin, but his Cantonese isn't up to scratch. And I'm like, isn't your son a junkie? It's like, that's what he does. Like, you bring up the big issues. And he says, oh, yeah, but we're going to be oil-free in 2035. I was like, there's a man having a shit in my bedroom, and I didn't invite him in the house. Let's talk about that. And he's like, no. It is unbelievable what the left have done. They've completely given up on the rule of law. Gavin Newsom's wrapped California wide, but again, the left all over the country, Seattle, they declared a fucking autonomous zone, the CHOP. Yeah. There's places declaring autonomous zones, and all you get back a month later is fucking 6 blocks of shit-stained rubble and burning cars. And these fuckers are talking about like, oh yeah, but we're going to be, the Green New Deal's going to be marvellous. It's like, I don't care. Yeah. Why
like all that mostly peaceful looting and mostly peaceful shootings and mostly peaceful fucking arson, you know, and it's, Jesus, you know, when you've got the likes of CNN reporters standing out in front, that was mostly peaceful.
In front of a fire. Yeah,
well, you know, and it's like, Jesus, what are you talking about, you silly twat? It's like, as I call him, Gavin Newsom, you know, and then there's that, what you call her, Witchmore. Well, Whitmore, but she should be Witchmore, you know, and all these creating that fucker Cuomo up and.
Oh, what an idiot he is, yeah.
And his fucking dickhead brother on the news. Oh.
Yeah.
You know, I try to watch some of the clips, but I get that cross in between. Like, I don't want to break my equipment, you know. I have to turn it off because it's just pish. Absolute pish.
You're not to be black-pilled or anything, because I don't think I am. I'm not hopeless. Because I like the phrase, because you know all the pills they use, the kids. I'll inform about the kids' terminologies. Like, so the red pill is like you're awake and you know what's going on, and you know that it's all fucking propaganda. And the black pill is you've given up on life completely and you just think we're fucked. The white pill is you know what's happening but you think we can win. Yeah. I'm more of a white pill than a black pill. I guess you can't just pick one or the other. But the way I see it is a phrase I love is if it was hopeless, there would be no need for propaganda.
Yeah, that's right.
Because think about it, like, even if Trump loses, he's only lost because literally the entire fucking government, literal branches of government, the deep state, what they call the deep state, makes you sound like a conspiracy theory, but it's a factual occurrence. Demonstrable fact by the Mueller report, the Peter Strzok and all of the shit that's gone on. You had the FBI and the CIA helping the outgoing president spy on him. You've had the state, the government itself, the mainstream media, and all of big tech arrayed against him. So even if he loses, that's the only reason he lost. Most fucking people know. Like, seriously, I was walking around in, where did I go on the piss last that was out in the stick? A few months back, we drove out to Bakersfield, and I was out there. And literally, I went around all the bars there, 9 out of 10 people I met were Trumpers. 9 out of 10. And my missus was like, oh yeah, but it's because you've got like a forceful personality. They're probably lying. And I was like, okay, maybe some of them are lying. Because you know what I'm like. I guess you would get a bit intimidated if you're a bit of a fanny and I'm in a bar getting pissed and I'm like, who do you vote for? How much of a cunt is fucking Biden? Maybe you'd lie and say, oh yeah, fuck Joe Biden. But it's not going to be everyone. So let's give them 2 or 3 percentage points. Let's say 7 out of 10 at Trump. But the point I'm saying is, my own eyes and ears tell me that Trump's fucking winning. And it was the same with Brexit. They said you've got no fucking chance. The BBC propaganda, the government itself propaganda, none of the Tories wanted it, none of Labour wanted it, none of the Lib Dems, SNP, Green, none of them. So the entire will of the state and the media and everything was against the general public. And they still made it happen. So so there's no need to be black-pilled. I don't see it. It's like, even if Trump doesn't win.
Most decent people are clued in enough, switched on enough to know what the BS is and what it isn't. And most people like that are just ordinary, decent working people who go about their day's work, that don't get too involved in stuff. But when it comes to the crunch and you have to put your axe in the box, they'll put it in the right box.
Yeah.
To stop all this fucking lunacy that's going on in the world. And hopefully, like, I know as everybody knows what the left's trying to do. They're hoping that Biden will get in. Then old trout-faced Pelosi, she'll fucking try to get the Supreme Court packed. 25th Amendment, get our Sleepy Joe out, get Kamala in, and we're all fucked. Not just America, but it's like that 25th Amendment thing that they brought up, and everybody initially thought, oh, they're trying to get Trump out. It's not that. They're hoping that Biden will win, and then they can get rid of him.
Yeah.
After a few months of puppeteering. And like, I know I'm going to be sitting up, like I did it the last time, and I sat up all night, bit of downtime during the day, watched it all. I'll get the slow cooker on, and during the day, and I'll put a big fucking load of ham in it, And
sounds like a plan. If you want, I might do a stream. I didn't even think of that.
No, that would be good. Because,
and
that's it. And get myself a couple of bottles of fucking bourbon or something like that, because it's America, and sit there and just hope the fuck it all works out right.
The reason I don't want to drink, mate, is because I don't know if I've told you this, but I do have a rule, because you can probably tell by looking at me, I keep fit and I look after myself.
It looks like you look like I'm fucking let yourself go a bit later.
And I do keep fit, and it's because I think I'm a believer in balance in all things. Like I said, I binge drink, but I don't do it often. Like 2-3 times a month, I'll get fucking mortal and enjoy myself. The rest of the time, I train. I'm a man of balance in all things. Maybe eating in politics, I am as well. And I'm a big believer in never drinking when you're in a bad mood. Because I know so many lads who just turn into arseholes. So that's my rule. I told you I have a few rules about it, and I only believe in binge drinking. And I explained this to my fucking mother-in-law, because she's an American. And they think whenever they see you get completely blotto, they instantly assume you're an alcoholic. Like, they just don't get it at all. And I always tell the story, the first time I ever met her, right? So I'd been with my missus for about a fucking week. And she said, I'm going to see my friends back home. You can come and hang out with my mum while I go out. We'll stay at their place. So I goes down there. She went out on the piss with her friends. I stayed in with her mum. I said, I need beer, because I've been in like Iraq or wherever it was. I said, I have to have beer if I'm staying in. Because you go months without a beer. You fucking want a beer every night when you're off. You know what I mean? So I went to the store, got like 30 cans, took them all in a big case and sat with her mum watching telly. Drank them all and went to fucking bed. The next morning, Laura said her mum came over to her and went, he's an alcoholic. There's something wrong with him. And she was like, why? And she went, he had 30 cans of beer and he drank them all. And she said, he's not alcoholic, he's just English.
Really?
And the mother went, well, I wouldn't have minded, but he didn't even offer me one. And when she told me that story, I said, fuck off, I only had 30. Fucking little them American cans, you know what I mean?
It reminds me of whenever I went over to London to live and done my training with the Met, and the passed out, got stationed in Kensington, and I've been out doing the job for about, must have been 5 or 6 months. Finally got moved out of the shitty police section house. It's like fucking jail, And me and my mate we got a townhouse together in New Malden, which was a really nice wee spot. And we had a Korean couple on one side. New Malden's a Korean fucking capital of England, like, and there's Korean restaurants and all and whatnot. So we had a Korean family on one side, and we had a couple of old English couple on the other side. We used to get fucking pissed and go and knock on the door. Hey, you want to come around for a drink? You know, and they're like, "Oh no, it's all right." But my mate, Monty, this guy called Alexander Montgomery, and the dog, it's a fucking dog. He was laying here sleeping anyway. But Monty, we call him, named after him. Like, he was like fucking 20 years younger than me, you know, or not 20 years, like 10, 12 years, something like that. And he's an Essex boy, and I called him my pet, you know, posh, this twat. And and his mum come down to stay with us one time, and it was only like it's only like a wee townhouse, and the bed that I had was broken at the fucking time, you know, so you were lying on a mattress, and I'd ordered a bed and was waiting for her to come, and his mum, right, God love her, she was fucking brilliant crack. She sat and drank away with us, you know. I got fucking hammered. Went upstairs, trying to get into bed, never fucking made it. Ended up sitting on the floor, tailed over, snoring like fuck. And his mum came in and fucking put me to bed. Pretty fucking cool, you know. And that's like, and the next morning she came down, fuck, you were so state last night. Let's do it again.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, like that's the sort of thing you want, you know, somebody with a bit of, and then his brother and his dad used to come down too, and the crack was bloody brilliant, you know.
Yeah. No, the Americans are different breed with boozing, like, but they don't get it as much to the. It's just something you grow up with back home. And I do think, I don't know what was the point we were talking about just before I told you the story about the mother drinking booze. You remember? I guess drinking whiskey, you lose your fucking. It's because it goes to your head straight away. Whiskey, you lose your fucking train of thought, don't you? Oh well, it doesn't matter.
It's the brain fog that does that to me. Well, that's fucking disease. But what were we talking about?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We were whinging.
It was the 25th Amendment and Kamala Harris and all that shit.
Yeah, we were whinging about that, but it's a different kettle of fish out here, and I just feel like I was talking about my optimism at the end of the day, and I'm saying even if it all goes tits up and Trump doesn't win, it's only because of the power of the state and the big tech and the MSM and everybody else. It's not because the general public are fucking daft. And like I said, if you go out into bars and pubs and you talk to normal people, people know what's going on. Definitely, like the average people do. The working classes do, and it's like everyone always said about Brexit. You just have to trust the working classes. The politicians don't get it. The elites don't get it. You have to trust the people. The people know what's going on. Most of them know. A majority of the people know what the crack is. You get the 10% who are Guardian readers who know absolutely fuck all. And conversely, you get the 10% who, only ever read the Daily Mail, and they're mega right-wingers, and they start playing the identitarian games that the far left make, and they're just as daft. Well, they're not just as daft, because I'm biased. They are daft. And it's like, but the majority of people float around the middle and make the right decisions, and when they see big tech giants and fucking illiberal as fuck Chinese-style shit, like the mainstream media burying any and all stories that are critical of the guy they like, they don't like it. They don't like it. That's what I'm saying. Even most Democrats, I reckon millions of Democrats will go, I wanted Biden, but if we're going to have a media that just buries every story that makes their candidate look bad, that's like something they do in China, and I'm not supporting that with my vote. So I don't believe it. Like I said, if he loses, it's going to be narrow, and it's going to be because every mechanism was bent towards achieving that. It's not because people are fucking stupid. It isn't.
That's it. It's going to be, whatever way it turns out, it's going to be a fucking mental few weeks after. So look, the cities, the usual cities are boarding up. They're getting ready. If fucking Walmart's even taking the guns out of the stores, haven't they?
I know.
But you know what? who's in control of the cities they're doing that in.
Oh,
Because other places are just getting on with life as normal. There's no issues. But you can actually say, like, I've fallen out with quite a few people, because I would be in a lot of the Facebook groups, whiskey groups, bourbon groups, and all that. And thankfully, I found most bourbon lovers and drinkers are sensible people. But there's some fucking lunatic far lefties in there too.
yeah.
Thankfully, there's few. What I found with people over here who are whiskey lovers tend to be a wee bit more left than right, and you can fall out with them bloody quicker,
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny, because most people over there in America, good time, America,
Yeah.
America, bourbon, yes, love the country, love the flag. And that's it. That's one thing I always loved about America, was just how loyal Americans were to the country. And it
They're
was just
unabashedly patriotic in a way that we aren't.
and the patriotic, and it's just lovely to see. Even when I was in Florida last year, we went to Disney and all that, and we went to watch a couple of shows, and they were like, please, before we start the show, is there any serving or ex-servicemen here? Please stand up. And everybody was clapping and cheering. Where else in the world do you get that?
No.
Where else in the world do you get that? And it's like, thank you for your service. Like, I was, before we went on the cruise, I was in one of the outlets, like, I can't remember the name of the place, big store.
Like Walmart or something.
No, it wasn't a store. It was a, where the fuck was it? It was
Costco? Like one of them big
No,
fuckers?
it was like a big centre and all loads of stores and shit.
The mall, yeah.
A big mall place, And I've seen a few knickknacks and stuff, and a couple of things that I liked. I was like, oh, I like that. Because like I've got a couple of these things here, like, the thin blue line and all that sort of stuff. And there was a ring that I thought, I'll get that, because I knew I was imminently retiring on ill health grounds from the police. And the boy was there, and he says, you were fitting stuff on. I said, hey, I'll take that. And he's like, well, why do you want that one? I says, because I'm a police officer, I'm about to retire, and it will show that I've still got support for the blue, even though I don't like fucking bosses. And he's like, what? You're a police officer? Yeah, 20% off. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. No, it's not the
Just
same
like
at
that.
all, is it? In back home, they're just fucking...
Yeah, back home, what? You're a police officer? Fuck off, I'm not selling you that.
Yeah, well, look how bad... And again, because they're completely enthralled of the Muslim community, they're actively hostile towards the military in the UK, because all of our last few wars were against Islamic countries in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're actively hostile. They used to... I've read dozens of stories of them being fucking... turning you away from petrol stations, turning you away from fast food places. And the most egregious one I've ever heard was they had to put the curtains round when they had a lot of casualties before Selly Oak got done up. They were having to send casualties out to the Birmingham General Hospital or something. And they said they'd have to put the curtains round the injured veteran who's had his fucking legs blown off, because if any of the fucking muzzies come in and see him there in the bed, they'll all start fucking beating him up and being aggressive and fucking hostile towards him. I was like, are you having a laugh? Like, that is criminal. A young lad who's just been fucking... Which, you know what, I will segue into this, right, which has always annoyed me about that. When you get into nationalism in the UK, which is onto the white pill that I'm talking about, even in, say, Scotland, where you've got nationalists who always vote for, a functionally Marxist party, they're only doing it because they've managed to beat the nationalism drum so well. They're not voting for... Working class Scotsmen aren't voting for Nicola Sturgeon because they agree with the central tenets of her Marxist philosophy. They're voting for her because they believe she'll stand up for them against the English. And I understand that. But even that, they're not voting for them for the central tenets of their political philosophies. They
Oh,
are
definitely.
functionally centrist. In fact, very socially conservative. You never get like a working class Scotsman who's like, oh, you know what else we should do? You know, we should send paedophiles and rapists to the fucking theme parks. That's Harriet Harman and all these commies who believe in that mad shit. They're not all like, oh yeah, if you've got a 12-inch clitoris, you're a fucking woman because you decide you are. They don't believe with all. They don't. It's just banging a nationalism drum, and it's the same with Sinn Féin. They are a nationalist party that get power because they basically rub it alongside all of these different political activities that are going on. But the central tenets of their political philosophy, which stems out of Marxism, that normal people don't agree with it. They just view them as being closer to their opinions, and it's the means to an end. Do you know what I'm saying? The SNP, Sinn Féin, the DUP, all of these people, none of those, I mean, the DUP are right wing, but what I'm saying is none of the sort of left wing political ideologies are popular with working class people because working class people believe in a fucking honest day's wage for an honest day's pay. They believe that you should have had to pay something in to get your benefits out. They don't believe that it's fair to import 1 million people from the fucking third world and suddenly go, you guys can have all the same privileges and benefits of people that have lived here for fucking 10 generations, but they are managing to ride that. It's a narrow line they're managing to ride. So I'm saying is, even though the SNP keep winning, I'm not hopeless about Scotland, and I don't think Scotland's full of fucking communists. I think they're just cleverly... The political situation is aligned in a way that's allowed them to take power. But I don't think most people in Scotland are fucking idiots.
No. As I say, like the socialist Nazi party run by Nicola Sturgeon, the Queen of Scotland. But the... just what you were talking about there is bringing me onto something that I didn't write down, but I thought, yes, we'll talk about it. It was on Trigonometry the other night, and it was on the news over here. Funnily enough, the 8 Fijian soldiers. Did you see that story?
No, I didn't see that.
The 8 Fijian soldiers who fought for the British Army, just like you did, Iraq, Afghanistan, lost their first court battle to stay in the UK.
Oh, I did see that in a Royal Marines group. I mean,
Jesus, well, you know, like, fuck me, what's that all about? They fought for the country.
I know.
Now they're going to get, well, even the court says they're going to get fucking kicked out. There's obviously an appeal going on, but yet all these people are jumping on fucking dinghies. Now on tankers, apparently on fishing boats as well. They're coming over, and they've got a special centre set up.
I'll tell you what.
Process yet. Oh,
this is a bit.
We'll put you in a 4 or 5 star hotel, but people who fought for the fucking country are like being forced to go and have a court battle to bloody stay.
I know. And you know what that reminds me of? When I was in the Marines, it was a big thing when the Gurkhas were allowed to stay with Joanna Lumley.
That was brilliant. The way that was fucking class. The way she just
got involved, yeah. But
she got involved and she got right into it and just went straight for the jugular, you know.
Yeah, and what I will say there is, you had this really weird situation, which just shows how ignorant the elites are, because you had the situation where the Tories were advocating for them to stay and Labour were advocating for them to go, because the Labour Party had realised in all their working class heartlands where they'd spent 10 years importing fucking hundreds of thousands of migrants, these working class communities had been decimated and they'd lost their community and they'd lost their jobs. And they suddenly went, oh, shit, we have to screw the nut on immigration. And the Conservatives were saying, yeah, but these guys have served in the military, so we have to let them in. So they almost reversed. And my controversial opinion on that is, and this is pretty controversial, I don't think just because you served in the military, you should be treated with reverence. I do realise that we've created a system whereby working class lads like me join up because it's the best way out of poverty. So it is sort of that military-industrial complex that we've created. But I don't believe in over-egging the pudding with, veterans. At the end of the day, we get a wage to do what we want to do, and if you don't want to do your job, you don't get in, you don't take the wage. I'm very reasonable and centrist on the military. I'm not one of these people who thinks we should throw everything at them. And maybe I'm more grounded in that because I served for as long as I did, and I know I'm not going to get attacked for that opinion. Because I do think in America, they almost give them too much. It's like there needs to be a happy medium there. It shouldn't be constant, unending hero worship. It's a choice to do that job, and all fair play to you if you do. But I'm definitely on the fence, sort of. Like, if they told the Gurkhas beforehand, this is the crack. At no point was it said, we'll give you a good wage and a good salary, and you'll be rich in your own country because it's such a large economic powerhouse compared to Nepal, and you'll get. At no point did we say, oh, and by the way, you definitely get to live in England and you get a passport. The reason people are so passionate about it is because of that exact principle, which is what I was talking about earlier about feeling as if you've contributed. Because the reason we got annoyed is because we've been taking in people that have never contributed anything and never will contribute anything, and then the Gurkhas or these Fijians turn up and you go, fuck me, that's shocking. But I am a little bit on the fence in the regard that, of course, if I'm going to have to pick anyone, I'll give these Fijians fucking passports and I'll give the Gurkhas passports. But I'm just saying, it wasn't in the contract at the start. We didn't say, you come and fight for us and you're guaranteed a passport and you can all move to England. But the reason we feel strongly about it is because we let in a load of horrible cunts from the third world who've never paid anything in. So all I'm saying is, let's just think about that one. Like, if we want to change the rules and say you get guaranteed citizenship, well, let's think about making it happen. But I do feel like it shouldn't just be, oh my God, they were in the military, therefore let them all in. It's like that wasn't the agreement. And I feel like the only reason...
I would think, my view on it is, if you serve the country and you fought for it, there should be something written down there that says, if you fought for the country, you served for the country, well, you should be entitled to citizenship. But the other thing they could do is, like there's 8 of them there at the minute. Well, just fuck it, we'll go over to Normandy or something, and then we'll jump on a wee fucking rowboat or down.
I know.
That will take us in. You know, and one of the guys is facing a 50 grand fucking bill for having a brain operation.
Unbelievable.
And that's just like, fucking hell. It's the system that needs changed. And as you say, all these people in power, all these like fucking Tories,
oh, they're all fucking scumbags.
They're all fucking Boris is a bollocks as well. But they just have no reason, and they just have no idea of what it's like to be a normal, natural, bog standard person. They're all it's just like they're living in their own wee fucking bubble, and they don't really see what's going on. The only person I've seen talking sense pretty much lately is your boy David Curtin.
I like him, yeah. And you know, a great quote I heard from Douglas Murray the other week was, he said, the elites have been social distancing for generations. Yeah. It's true, isn't it? They have been they've been social distancing for the last 20 fucking years, so it doesn't bother them. It's like I told you, right, about how ignorant and arrogant they are. Angela Merkel or Boris Johnson or any of these people, they don't think there's a migrant problem because they never see any. They live in, like, seriously, the places... I read about where Andy Murray moved to. And they reckon the street he lives in, it's like every single one of them who lives there is famous. It's politicians, actors, singers, fucking you name it. And it's out of the way. You have to drive out there in your car. So it's out the way. You know, most people, there's not really a bus service there. You don't get homeless people there. You don't get fucking migrants there. So every day there's fucking great. And they go, there isn't a migrant problem. And it's like, and then you go to my dad's house in Middlesbrough and there's fucking 50 Somalians roasting a goat in the front fucking garden. And they go, whoa, that's weird. They don't even see that. And then he can't get a dentist appointment and he can't get a fucking doctor's appointment because there's 200 fucking Afghans in there. And then they sit there in this ivory tower and say, no, there isn't a migrant problem. And Douglas Murray's wrote about it and said in Sweden, the higher the percentage that you were likely to say you loved migrants and there was no problems and everyone should be free to move wherever they want, the higher the percentage of people that said, yeah, that's a great idea, was the people that live in the area that's the whitest area. So if you live in somewhere that's 99.99% white, you think that, but you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. They're in a bubble.
They're shielded from reality. It's like there's a story. Because of where I worked when I was in London, there was quite a few celebrities there. You get called to them every now and again. Well, quite often, because it goes with celebrity and talent that they're a wee bit fucked up as well. And I'll not name any names, but I had to go to a fucking incident one night. I didn't know who the guy was at the time, but he's very fucking famous. And it just shows you how different their lifestyle is now. I'm going back to 2005.
Yeah.
And so, whilst down to it, whole who had a rest box. And to be fair to him, he was dead on about it, but it was quite a serious thing. And so he's lying when I go in his fucking Holland Park fucking mansion, lying back like this when I go in, you know, and his fucking white fronts and his vest, you know, watching his fucking TV that's as big as this fucking room. and you say what's going on, you find out the whole crack, and it's like, well, you're coming with me, you know. And so he's like, I suppose that's going to be me for the night. I says, I will, because it was late at night, and you weren't going to get a solicitor out for that. So I'll be taking him up to Notting Hill, book him in, bed him down for the night. And I still had no notion who the fucker was. And he says, well, I suppose then I'll just have to grab a bit of money for the taxi to bring me home in the morning. So just as you fucking do, go up to the mantelpiece, you know, above the fire, and grab a wee bit of money that you just have laying to the side. You know, like, if it was anybody like you or me, you'd have like maybe fucking 10, 15, 14 fucking grand.
Just
I was like thinking,
lying there.
do you want a fucking taxi home or a bloody helicopter, you know? And I remember taking him into the custody suite. I have to say, he was a nice enough guy and spoke to him the whole way down. Opened the door of the custody suite, the sergeant went, you know, and then had it all done up, phoned the wife and said, I've just arrested this guy and everybody seems to think he's famous. I've never fucking heard of him. She's like, what? You fucking met him? You've arrested him? Yeah. I was like, I never fucking heard of him. So what, he's really fucking famous? And like, I know who he is now, like, but back at the time, I had no bloody clue who he was. But as I say, the only thing about it was he was that fucking famous. I thought, he's all right. He was a nice enough guy. He didn't fucking say it's all made up, a load of shit, and kick off or anything.
Yeah.
Fucking last day, we did 4 on, 4 off sort of thing. And last night shift, then I was off for 4 days. And my mate who I lived with at the time, he fucked off back home to Essex. And he phoned me there a couple of days after, and he says, see that boy you arrested all night, such and such, nice as I. He's in the front page of all the fucking papers saying you made it all up.
Oh, really?
I was like, fuck. I swear to God, on the front page of the paper saying the police made it all up. It was a load of balls. I was arrested for nothing. I was like, oh, Jesus.
The shameless,
you know?
man.
So and I went back in for my early shifts 4 days later. You log on, you check your emails, and there was one from the borough commander. Note nothing in the subject line. You see his name, nothing in the subject line. Please come see me. Oh, fuck. And I was like, oh Christ, this is it, you know. So I was like, oh, fucking sauntered off. Trying to see him. He's like, I just wanted to let you know, and this is what it was, that wouldn't happen today. Down to see him, thinking, this is it, I ain't going to get a fucking bollock in here, you know. And he's like, I've read the arrest report, I've read all the files, read the statements, saw what was in the paper. You did your job, you did it right. I've got your back, don't worry about it.
Wouldn't happen now.
Can you imagine that now?
Oh, what the fuck?
You little shit weasel.
I know,
You're
exactly.
fucked.
No, but that proves that the different world we're living in now, isn't it? Is that
You know.
the little guys don't matter anymore.
No,
I mean,
because the police, they don't have your back. After what's happened to me over here with my injury and all the shit I've had to go through, like I'm still, what, 5.5, nearly 6 years on, trying to get myself sorted out.
fuck
And
all.
if the people at the top had the fucking decency to do the right thing, it would have been sorted out like that.
Well done.
But
You know what? You're reminding me of. Have you seen all the people who've been nicked for for having parties and stuff? And if
Jesus,
you're
yeah.
a student and you have a party, they'll fine you 10 grand. But if you
10
work for the
grand.
government, if you're famous, if you're an MP, if you're in any position of authority at all, nothing.
Did you see them going into the church in fucking Wales? Did you see that video?
With the church with the wheels?
No, the church in Wales.
Oh, Wales, right. No, I didn't see that.
A couple of miners coming in, fucking hands and pockets, fucking in. You're not allowed any more than 6. You're breaking the law and all this. Many fucking mosques did they go into, and many other, you know.
Yeah, none.
It's just like, fuck me.
Well,
Sure,
did you see the grooming scandal? The inquiry. They didn't even go to any of the areas where the fucking were active. Did you see that? They didn't go to like Rotherham or any of the really big ones. They went to like Sunderland. It's like, well, nobody was talking about fucking Sunderland. They avoided talking about it again.
But sure, look what Sadiq Khan allowed in London the other day. Right? A fucking stab and attack in France. Somebody's got their head fucking chopped off. A couple of other people stabbed to death. And all you've got on the news is, oh, the Muslims, we feel like we're getting, it's dangerous for us now because of all the nasty
Unbelievable.
And then there's a fucking group of Muslims protesting outside the French embassy in London.
Yeah, well, did you see? I talked about that on my live stream the other day, and I covered it on my last BBC video. But like, if you're protesting the day after someone's got beheaded, you should be getting a knock on your door the next day with a warrant, because that's probable cause that you're an extremist. And I guarantee if they did that, 9 out of 10 of those people, they'd find fucking terrorist materials on the phones or the computers or the laptops, and we could get them fuckers jailed or deported, depending on whether they're born here or not. Like, that is criminal negligence by the government if they don't do anything. If they don't follow any of that up, that's criminal negligence the way I see it.
And you see a couple of the lockdown protests in the weeks before. They just don't sit back and watch them. They fucking wade in and beat people and arrest them. And
shocking.
It's fucking shocking. Like I've seen it even way back in the day when I was over there doing stuff. That was my colleagues were coming back and saying, "Fuck, the bosses wouldn't let us do anything, or they made us do this."
Yeah.
And it's not some of them on the ground. It's the bloody bosses that are the problem.
I think at this point, it's not even just our opinion, is it? It's not like our opinion. It's a demonstrable fact that we have two-tier policing in the United Kingdom.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
It's a demonstrable fact. The Rotherham case and the grooming gangs, 70,000 girls a year raped whilst they ignored it for decades. That's concrete evidence that we have two-tier policing. The football lads alliance being battered senseless while Black Lives Matter communists are allowed to fucking tear down statues in Bristol. That's evidence of fucking two-tier policing. The guy getting arrested and jailed for 12 months for throwing a bacon sandwich at a mosque while some fucking Arab pulls down a fucking cross at the top of a church. And they go, oh, he needs help, he's a good lad. Honestly, just from memory, without even using Google, I could talk for 2 hours about two-tier policing in the UK. The guy who pissed up against, like, round the corner from a plaque of a copper, jailed him a week later. He was in prison a week later. The black woman who's setting fire to the cenotaph, one of the probably the most sacrosanct place in the UK, if you were to ask my opinion, to millions of people. A monument to dead kids, teenagers who gave their lives fighting the Nazis, setting it on fire, but because of the colour of her skin, nothing. Like, it's not just my opinion, it's a fact. It's a fact. And again, you can't make an honest man into a lie. They could put me on TV with Emily Maitlis, Owen Jones, and fucking Keir Starmer, and I'm winning that argument. It's a demonstrable, proven fact. We've got two-tier policing, and it needs to stop because it breeds resentment and hatred. And they want to talk about the National Front and the neo-Nazis. I'll tell you how you turn someone into a neo-Nazi. You fucking prosecute his dad for having a piss in public whilst he watches a gang of black people beat the shit out of his mother and walk away scot-free because there's a two-tier police system. They get a grip of it now, or they're creating a problem in 10 years' time. And it's not just going to be a few fringe weirdos. It's going to be a couple of million young, pissed-off men who are saying, why do we get treated like rats in the country we've been in for 20 generations?
Enough's enough.
That cenotaph shit made me sick, like, seriously. Burning the cenotaph. There's nowhere more sacrosanct to most ethnic Brits and Irish, Indians, anyone who even served against the Nazis, who lost a relative. That fucking monument is to those people. Young lads that died when they were teenagers fighting against the Nazis, and this fucking piece of shit who probably turned up in about 1997 sets it on fire, and we go, well, freedom of speech. Fuck off. Fuck off. It gripped my shit, that boiled my piss in the
speech works one way when it comes to them fuckers.
Only one way, and it's the same, like I said, with Biden. Inconvenient facts. Get something about Biden, hide it. Get something about Trump, put it all over the TV. It's authoritarianism, and it doesn't make people more reasonable. It makes people angry and reactionary. And it is, honestly, it even happened to me. Every year I get more and more angry. So if it keeps going on, in 5 years' time, am I still going to be a reasonable centrist, or am I going to be a bit of a fucking nutter? Like, it's...
Where did you get to my age?
Oh, God.
Fuck. Well, here, the way things are going, if Biden wins, you'll be in fucking jail in about 6 months. Well, it'll be rendition. You'll not be in jail. You'll just be fucking taken away somewhere. And where is he? We don't fucking know. He's not there.
Someone in the chat just said, I'm Southern English, it's all a funny dialect to me. Even the Bootneck barely speaks English. So, Alan, you're speaking Swahili and I barely speak English.
But that's the thing. I've had this thing when I was over in London at the start, and they talk about all this fucking racist shit. Well, it mostly happened on Saturdays and Sundays when you were on an early or a late or a night shift, because the bosses didn't work and they were just on fucking call. It was like every time a call came through and you answered the fucking radio, it was like, what? Say again. Don't know what you're talking about, Paddy. Speak slow. And we're like, fuck off.
The Southerners.
And I was calling them all fucking English twats and Welsh pricks and all this shit. But as you did, because that's just the way it worked.
It's queer when you're up north, because obviously we're right near the Geordies. There's nobody I can't understand. Like, I've heard the most rural fuckers in Ireland, random fucking places in the valleys in Wales, northern Scotland, anywhere. I never struggle to understand anyone. But we had a Geordie signaller when I was in Afghanistan, and everyone used to call him the wind talker. Because he used to come over the net and go, oh, why I like us? Two guys, can he do that? Like, and everyone was like, fuck me. Yeah, wind talkers. Like the Americans use the Navajo, the wind talkers. All we need is 200 Geordies. Just get 200 Geordies
movie, that.
To man the radios, and we'd never.
The funny thing was, one of the guys that was actually on my team, well, the team I was on was Team 1 Kensington, but it was Chelsea, Notting Hill. We all were all at the same time. And one of the guys that was in Notting Hill was actually a former squaddie who served over here in Ballykindler.
Aye.
Played for the local football team where I live.
Aye. Small world.
A small world. And he was that. He's living in Australia now. And it's such a small world when you see things like that. But a funny story, it was, I had a couple of issues with a couple of sergeants over in the Met, and it was quite funny. There was a case progression team. So we were on response. You arrested somebody, you did your arrest notes, you did your statement, your online stuff, got the fucker booked in, and then you just threw it over to the case progression unit,
Yeah.
And they were on rotation, and there was one of the sergeants on it. I can't remember his name, but we called him Sergeant Thrush because he was an irritating cunt. And
Sergeant Thrush, I like it.
yeah, Sergeant Thrush. So my mate who I shared the house with, he had been in a different team than me initially. I was in team 1, he was in team 2, and then he got put on a neighbourhood unit, and then you had to do your rotation in the neighbourhood unit. He wanted to stay on it. I got put on it, and we got put on the same one. And then all my mates used to come round to the house where we were, and then when it came his turn to come off it, he wanted to come into my team. But anyway, we were out together one Friday. It was our last shift, and we had all the guys planned to go out and then come around to our place, ready to rock and roll. And we were doing a thing in Kensington Tube Station, and we stopped this guy, a load of bling on him, a whole load of shit, obviously handling stolen goods. We're like, fuck. It was only like half an hour to go to the end of shift. We're like, oh fuck, we're going to be on here all night. And then we thought, it's in the tube station, technically British Transport Police. We'll hand it over to them. So took the boy down. We had to go to Chelsea, and I went into. He arrested him. I went in to talk to the case progression team, and fucking Sergeant Thrush was on. I said, oh, fuck. Hateful bastard.
Thrush. Yeah.
You know, so my mate Monty, he's talking to the custody sergeant, and I thought he knew who Sergeant Thrush was, but he hadn't, because he was in Notting Hill. He'd never been down there before. And I was like, he didn't know who this guy was. So I had done that, and I came back, and the custody sergeant says to him, well, who's on there in the case progression team? And I whispered over to Monty, Sergeant Thrush. I thought he knew. And he's like, right, Skipper, Sergeant Thrush. And I went, oh, fuck. That wasn't his name. I can't remember his name. And the custody sergeant just went, started fucking laughing because he knew the story. Yeah. And he looks at me, and I was like, oh, fuck. And the custody sergeant's laughing. And he's like, what the fuck? I said to him, do you not know? He says, no, what? That's his nickname because he's an irritating cunt. He's like, what the fuck did you not tell me? But thankfully, the custody sergeant was like, everybody knew he was such an irritating cunt, as even the other sergeants didn't fucking like him. But it was just one of those funny moments, like Sergeant Thrush, one of the most irritating cunts that you ever had. And there was another guy. There was another guy over here. Thankfully, I've retired now too, but he was called NASA.
NASA why?
And a firearms instructor. And you went in and you did your fucking 2 weeks training without that, you know, and all that. And he was called NASA because everywhere he went, every room he went into, he sucked the fucking atmosphere out. And he was, I'll have to say, one of the most hateful bastards I have ever fucking met. You know, it was like how he survived like fucking years as a firearms instructor without a student or a fellow instructor shooting him, I'll never know.
We had a Sergeant Dyson. Everybody used to call him Sergeant Dyson because he was a morale hoover. Call him the fucking morale hoover. And I remember they rang the tannoy once at Fortune Commando and got them to put out a call over the tannoy for Sergeant Dyson. I almost laughing about that. But, anyway, I'm out of booze nearly, mate, and we've been on an hour and a half, so I think we'll call it there.
It'll be most time for my birthday fucking steak.
Start smashing the rest of your booze as well.
That's right. But one other story just before we go. I remember doing a report. I had always mine usually finished. It was on the main area car. We got a call to some big fucking thing in Harrods. And there was some, I can't even remember who the celebrity was that was there. And fucking all the press and the media were there. And some photographer said they got assaulted by a member of staff, one of the security, you know. So we went down. It was all over the bollocks. And because of my background as a journalist, I'm like a touch typist, like time away flat out. And back to the station, did the report, and went to whatever unit it had to go to. And the other guy was still doing his bit, you know. And I got a phone call down there. Some busybody didn't like the way I had written it off. And I was, even then, a wee bit, well, not as stubborn as I am now, but I got fucked off with this person. And I was at the phone out here and I said, I'll fucking listen to you. And I just called the other one, Doug, will you come in here and talk to this cunt before I get in the fucking car and go up and knock the cunt out? And it's just like, you know, I just have no time for fucking busybodies and anal fucking arseholes like that, you know.
Well, my old fella said it gets worse as you get older, so you'll be chinning people left, right, and centre as you get older.
Well, the thing is, I'll have to get it with the first fucking hook, because after that I'm out of steam.
Well, that's old man. That's what old man strength's for. Old man strength. You got to chin him in the first one, so you don't have to rely on cardiovascular.
Well, that's it. Well, good things. 2 hands in the ears, a fucking foot to the knee, or a kick in the ball.
a kick in the pills works for anyone.
Yeah. But like if you get the 2 flat hands over the ears, that's going to get anybody.
Oh, I just poke him in the fucking eye. That's my that's a favourite of mine. Teach you that in the military. Poke him in the thumb in the eye works a treat. Anyway, I'm gonna fuck off. Yeah.
Here, there's a wee. Fucking thing's not.
I'm out. I'll just have to clink my empty bottle of camera. There you go. Clink.
There's a wee skull for Halloween.
Oh yeah, quality. I like it. A skull shot.
What it is, you know. I said that's just a wee plastic thing because I'm a cheap bastard. But just to say, cheers for another live stream.
Happy birthday, Al. I'm empty, but I'll get the dregs.
And to well, you only turn 50 once.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I've sculled me dregs. I'm done. Right, I'll see you in a month. We'll do this again in a month. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. If you can't wait a month, watch some more. I'm going to do more live streams next week because I'm enjoying just sitting and talking shit in front of the camera while we're all fucking locked down because the gyms and the pubs are still closed out here. Was that spicy, Al? It looks like it's
Oh, it's nice when it goes all down at once like that. It gives you a bit of fire in your belly, you know. Once you get the steak in me, the wife's in trouble.
Quality. All right, I'll talk to you soon, mate. Thanks everyone else for watching. I'll
cheers,
check
mate.
out some live streams in the week and check out Al's channel in the comments if you really love booze. Don't we all? See you around, guys. Thanks. See you, Al. How the fuck do I turn the chat off? Al's gone. Huh? Cheers, guys. There we go. See you guys. Cheers.